It's time to pull those belts tight, race fans. The front stretch is coming at you, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Dirk Houston.
Well, good morning to you, race fans, and welcome to the front stretch presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. Fast-paced white-knuckle racing just across the river. 23rd Avenue over in Council Bluffs. Get over to Joe's today. Do yourself right with a little indoor kart racing. Again, joeskarting.com. We got some exciting news. We have a brand new sponsor coming on board. Guys down in Red Oak, Iowa at Red Oak Fabrication. They're offering powder coating with an affordable price. Get your chassis powder coated for just $275 for a bare frame. Now, there's going to be, if you have to have some reworking done or some blasting to get some of the old powder coating or old paint off of it, it's going to be a little bit more. So you want to give Jordan a call today and get an estimate. 712-623-4911 or email him jordanf@redoakfabrication.com for a good estimate.
Always good news to hear about new sponsors.
Yeah, they're coming on board. They're going to sponsor all of the dirt track and NASCAR interviews for the next couple of months. So speaking of one of those, we're going to be kicking off a Red Oak Fabrication interview with Ryan Jenkins, the A-Mod driver throughout the area in the number 6 car. Came up from Sport Mods, even farther from that. I think, did you go right from karts into Sport Mods?
Yeah, I just went right in.
Yeah, and I say that as if like you made this big jump, but you were like, what, 13 when you jumped into a sport mod?
Yeah, I raced a couple when I was 13, the ones I could, and then when I was 14, we did a full season. So
a lot more than I was doing when I was 13 and 14.
Yeah.
I was still breaking sticks as entertainment.
He couldn't go straight from karts to cups, so he had to stop somewhere in between there.
He's getting there, though. 3 wins. We were talking about it off the air, getting your stats straight. 3 wins in 2017 in the modified, which, by the way, from 16 to 17, you switched to a modified. Did you race your sport mod much in the year 17?
I raced a car for Dylan Smith he had there. I didn't have my A-Mod ready, so he had a sport mod sitting there. We put it together and raced a couple big shows, and in about May of 17, we got the modified ready and just kind of got our feet wet in that, and we're still learning.
Yeah. It took you a while to get that modified ready to go, didn't it?
Yeah.
Did it take longer than it expected?
Yeah, I think we were expecting it and to get the car actually in, I think, March, and ended up being May, and then it took us a couple weeks to get it done. And
that had to be frustrating.
Oh,
First off, watching all of your buddies race.
Oh, he was still racing.
Well, you're not racing the big car you're paying for, though.
Yeah, I talked to Dylan. I said, you got anything I could race? He's like, yeah.
Because you sold all your equipment when you had made the plans to move to the modifieds.
Yeah. So I was left with nothing.
Last time that'll happen.
Yeah, no kidding. Gunnar Pike bought one of your cars middle of last year and really found some success with it. And then he went and sold it.
Yeah, we did a lot of things with it, and it's a fast car. I wish I never sold it. I put a lot of hard work into that thing, and it obviously still goes. So
18 was a good year for you. 17 was a good year for you, picking up 3 wins in the modified and then picking up 3 more wins in 2018. I think a big improvement for you and your dad, who's your main crew chief, helping you out in the car. You guys really kind of seem to, even though you said you got a lot left to go to figure that car out, you guys made a lot of leaps in 2018.
Yeah, I think we chased some better competition. I think we figured out from the year before we needed to, if we want to be the best, we got to beat the best kind of a motto. We had a lot of second places. We were always there. We just never really found the right place at the right time a lot. But I think we're getting there.
Yeah, I think so too. You guys are definitely improving in that car. There are some really, really talented modified drivers around here. Guys that know how to adjust their line by a half a tire width as opposed to, a half a groove.
Yeah, it's crazy. The modified class it's so close right now. At any big show, there's probably 10, 15 cars that you could count on being in the front. It's so close. The rules are really tight. There's not really much of an advantage someone can get other than a driver and hitting the setup that night.
What chassis are you running?
We'll be in a rage car again.
Okay.
Yep.
Where are they out of?
They're out of West Union, Iowa.
Okay.
I get mine from Precision Performance, Andy Eckrich. Dave Eckrich, they'll put together the car, and they help me out a ton.
Anybody else around here run them?
No, there isn't. I think I'm the only rage car in Nebraska, and that's the kind of way I wanted to
Yeah.
get it with, and now everybody's seeming to get on the rage car, but it's fine.
Yeah, you go and find success, and all of a sudden people are going to start copying you.
It's a really good car. There's a lot of guys that had success with it. You'll hardly see a rage car that's not performing well, but if you're on, they have a good baseline setup to start out with, and it's just a really forgiving car.
Yeah.
Well, coming from Precision, man, you got so much experience there. I mean, tons of experience, years and years.
Yeah, it's insane. Those guys are very smart. And they do a lot with a little. You walk into their shop, it's nowhere near a NASCAR-looking shop. I mean, they just built it off of a farm, and a lot of wins, obviously, with those guys.
But that kind of fits your personality. I mean, you're not a bolsterous kind of a guy. You're not a braggadocious, kind of what you see a lot with these wide receivers in the NFL or big talkers. You let your actions speak for you. And kind of like those guys, they've got a very humble shop, but they don't need an expensive shop. They need to put their time and effort into their chassis.
Yeah, you don't need to put a ton of money into it. I mean, and like guys showing up in the fancy haulers, if you're going to travel a lot, yeah, you do need it, but sometimes you just don't need some stuff. But it makes it nicer. If you got the money there, obviously it'd be better to have it, but
yeah,
there's ways around it.
Is that going to be you someday? Do you want to be the big touring guy with the big fancy hauler and all the girls hanging around?
I'd love to, as long as I'm not paying for it.
You and every other driver. Yeah, I hear that a lot. But is that kind of your goal? Do you want to be on the USMTS Modified Tour?
Yeah, or even go farther. I love to drive, I love to race, and I like winning.
Is Modified where you want to be? I think I remember a conversation about this time last year. You'd be interested in a late model if you were able to make it work.
I don't know. So this year I'm going to be driving a 305 sprint car a little bit too.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't know. I just love to race, and I love to win. But I think getting in any type of car will help you as a driver.
Yeah.
Adapt into anything that turns,
Who's 305 you going to drive?
They're putting together a car at Precise. My boss, Chris Archer, he's going to let me drive it a few nights, and he really wants me to get in a sprint car. He doesn't like me seen in those modifieds.
Really? Well, it is kind of a sprint car shop.
Yeah.
What Precise is. So that makes sense. That's not a bad deal if the boss is going to put together a ride for you.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I don't junk it the first night.
Yeah, don't junk it and don't show up till late to work. Because you might pull that ride away from you real quick.
Yeah, very easy.
Anything else? So is the car ready to go? You all set to go this year, or are you going to be sitting on the sidelines again?
I'm supposed to pick it up Saturday, my old car. I got a new car on the way. He told me the end of February. He promised me it by Beatrice. So I'm hoping I get that. And hopefully we can do some touring this year and kind of get some new tracks in and bigger races.
How far have you circled on the map to go from your hometown?
Oh, I'd like to. There's some races I like to head to. I had a good time at Boone. I didn't have very good luck, but that was a fun place. I'd like to head to Marshalltown.
Are you 21 yet?
Not yet.
How did you have fun in Boone? Not race very well, but you're not 21.
I'll let you figure that out.
Okay.
Yeah, you're a couple years away from 21.
Yeah.
You even have high school yet?
Well,
couple.
And I always enjoyed the nights at I-80 when you would win because you would get this giant bottle of was it Jack Daniels or Jim Beam?
Yeah.
And
Jack.
And it was always kind of funny to see you standing there and this 16, 17-year-old kid holding the bottle of booze.
Oh, yeah.
Dad and Grandpa are going, yes.
But anyways, so anything down in the South, you want to go race the mod tour in Arizona,
Not this year. I'd like to do maybe the Dakota tour if things fall in place. Nothing really on the radar. It's just wherever we see a race, we'll go, kind of like last year. Just having fun and trying to win every race we go to.
Well, the Dakota tour, for the type of tour it is, would be real nice because it's, 9 races in 10 days, I think, something like that?
Yeah, it's a lot of races and a lot of
days. It's nothing like the Hell Tour that they do with the late models over in Indiana and Illinois. They do like 29 races in 30 days. So
yeah, it would be it'd be pretty hard for me and my dad to do that. So we'd have to find some help together and figure something out. But I'd like to do it sometime.
Any weekly points racing you're going to try to win a championship at a track somewhere, or you just kind of bounce around?
I never go into a points deal thing. I'm going to win the championship because I usually end up having bad luck. But I'm going to start at I-80 and go from there.
Yeah.
But if there's another race somewhere else, I wouldn't be scared to go.
It seems to be kind of what a lot of guys do. They'll start out kind of playing on racing there for the first 4 weeks. If they're top 5 in points, they'll keep going. If they're outside the top 5, they'll start bouncing around and kind of having some fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays what we're in, we just need to have fun and not really take stuff when you're in second place. Don't get too mad about it because a lot of guys don't even get the chance to be up there, don't have the equipment and stuff.
Yeah. So you're not going to be like this, like a Kyle Busch or an Adam Gullion, who's probably the most upset second placeman in the field.
Oh, I get mad when I finish second place, but sometimes you got to control yourself.
Yeah.
Well, it just depends who beat you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got beat by 10 years of experience, that's one thing. If you got beat by a guy's first night in the car, that's going to be a little tough to take.
Help me refresh my memory a little bit. I remember in one night last year that I gave you a lot of credit because there were so many drivers that could have handled this situation poorly. Was it the Go 50 that you were racing and you were up there up in the front and made contact with another driver and both you guys junked your cars? And then
that was at the Charlie Clark, actually.
You were parked next to each other?
Last segment at the Charlie Clark. Yeah, I started second row inside, and it was rubbered up towards the top. And the leader didn't get the jump he wanted to, and we're 3 wide going, and I thought I was clear, and me and the guy on the outside made contact, and he went into the wall. And, we were parked next to each other, and I kind of let things calm down and went over and talked to him about it.
That was smart.
Yeah.
That was really smart.
I let him know that I made a mistake and probably should have had more patience on that. But
was that Justin Kai? Is that who I'm thinking?
I don't know
who it was.
I can't remember who it was.
Anyways, but I stood there the whole time. Being the pit reporter, it was my job to know where the story might be. And I hated standing there. You probably saw me standing there waiting for something to happen. But I kept radioing up to the booth, and I'm like, you guys might want to call over and get security over here because stuff might pop off pretty quick. And both of you sat on the ledges of the car and just stared at it. Like you were just kind of looking around, but he was glaring you down.
Oh, yeah. He didn't like that too much. I apologize to him. That was a mistake on my fault. But
it was smart for you to kind of get out of the car a little bit so that if he did come over at you, you could kind of defend yourself a little bit. I mean, if you're just sitting in the car, he's got free reign to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I guess I've never been in a situation like that. I hope I never am again, but I'm sure it will. It's racing.
It's a learning process. You're a young kid. You're going to make mistakes. I mean, even these older guys still make mistakes.
If you sit in the car and he comes over, just keep your helmet on. Everything's good.
Yeah.
The only person getting hurt in that is the one throwing the punches.
Yeah, I gave you a lot of credit because I thought you handled that perfectly to where you didn't go over there right away and talk to him. You let him cool down a little bit and you apologized and took ownership for it.
Yeah, I tried to. And I was also really mad at myself because I knew I had one of the best cars that night. And
you had a really good shot that night.
Biggest race of the year. And let it all down the drain.
There's so many sayings. Yeah, but a good night for you. But that's got to carry some confidence going into 2019's Charlie Clark Memorial.
It does. I've always wanted to run that race,
but it's such a crapshoot of a race. I mean, that's the toughest part is that you can have a good car and still have a terrible finish.
Yeah, it's the way they do it. It's really different, and you can play the game. Like last year, I think I started like 13th or something and got up to 4th and said I had a flat tire and dropped to the back 20 so I could start up front in the next round, and karma got me. But but yeah, I'm hoping they do it different next year, and I think they will. I think enough drivers complained, and really you can't really count on the track conditions being like that though, and it's out of their hands, and it's what made the racing what it needed to be. But they'll figure something out. And
you said that's probably your the biggest race on in your scope of wanting to win.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big race at my home track that I haven't won yet, and I've been so close so many times.
Yeah,
and it makes it harder, I feel like, than other drivers when you got that much mental pressure. But
it's harder to get one than it is to get the second one.
Yeah,
because there is a lot of that pressure of running around, and it's a mental game too.
Yeah, but we'll get it sometime.
Prestige-wise, it is probably the biggest track or the biggest race that I-80 holds for the modifieds.
I think so. Even when you talk about like the Go 50 racing with those guys for the Silver Dollar Nationals, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we'll get it sometime.
All right, so you're planning on starting your year out in February with your new car, right? At Beatrice?
March, yeah.
March at the Beatrice, and then just kind of hitting specials there. And then you said racing weekly at I-80. You going to try to race weekly anywhere else to start off with?
No, not really any plans. Just bouncing around and seeing how the new car goes. I'll race the old car quite a bit too, and just having fun.
Any big changes that they're giving you a heads up on these chassis? Because sometimes they can change pretty considerably from year to year.
No, not really. I mean, they've been working pretty good. Just a few updates here and there just to make us a little better. But pretty much my old car is going to be the same as my new car still. And I don't know, nowadays the racing's so tight, so every little advantage counts. I mean, we're working every single detail in these cars.
Yeah.
And a lot of shop time and stuff. But.
Yeah. Your dad, big part of your success, helping you in the pits. Who else helps you?
Yeah, my dad's a huge part in everything. There's not a day go by that he does something to help my racing program. But my mom, my sister, there's so many people, the rest of my family, my grandma and grandpa. I could go on with people. I mean, there's
people that just come in on a weekly basis every couple of times a year and help out with tires and just helping out with little stuff. But.
Yeah, I mean, there's drivers that help me out. There's people that keep an eye on me and help me as a driver. And
you and Jacob Hobchat are pretty good friends, right?
Yeah, we're really good friends.
Yeah, and you guys share notes back and forth.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Can you cross over that kind of stuff when he's running a different style chassis?
Yeah, I mean, driving wise, I mean, we can keep an eye on track changes, or if he's racing at a different track, one that I've raced at a while, and he'll text me, or if I'm doing the same thing, I'll text him and say, hey, what's up, what's it going to do, or what can I expect, Yeah. And we help each other out a lot. I mean, but we're still racers on the track like any other guys, but... Are
you pretty competitive to where you want to make sure he does good, but you want to do better?
Yeah, I mean, it's racing,
Yeah.
It's racing.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys always park next to each other, and it's always kind of fun to watch you guys. Your crews will jump in and help each other out as soon as you guys need it.
Yeah, I mean, we've been really good friends forever, and it's like another family. We've met each other when we were like 9 or 10, so it's been almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
How about changes outside?
Isn't that funny? He's talking about such a long time ago with a friend I met 10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago. What was I doing? But outside of racing, what kind of changes you got going? Isn't college coming up for you here pretty quick?
Yeah, I'm in college right now. I'm studying mechanical drafting and CAD design at Metro here, and I plan to finish that up and then go to UNO for a business degree, and been working hard over there at Hoosier and just going on a lot of trips. And
so you getting any use out of that scholarship out to Ohio there or not?
No, I did not. I looked into it, and it's a really good college. It would be hard to move away from home to study racing, which I could do the same here. And it's not really something they're really like kids are studying to go into NASCAR Cup teams to work on the teams. I'd just rather make it through the routes and not pay my way in,
Mm-hmm. You'd rather have seat time than wrench time.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing wrong with that. You got a lot of great sponsors that help you get up and down the road. Why don't you thank several of them?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that help me. Very appreciative of them. C&H Construction, they came on board about 2 years ago, and Terry Hurt and Jarek, they've been a huge help with me. Gosler Farms, he's helped me for a long time now. Benson Body and Paint, he's been on for, I think it's been 3 or 4 years now since the start. Piles Photography, she's helped me since the very start too. Quality Tire, they've helped me since the start. I mean, these guys have helped me since I started, and I'm thankful for that because believing in me and stuff like that. Element 102, he's been my wrap guy for the past 3 years. I think he's Icon Inc. now is what he's called. A change in names. Energy Release, they've helped me since the start. Dynamic Drivelines, they came on board a couple years ago. Outerwears, he's helped me since the start. Ty Lube, Weir's Machine, Precision Performance, Rage Chassis, Hoosier Tire Great Plains, and Precise Racing. They're a huge help to me, and they let me take time off work whenever I want to go racing.
That's huge when you've got a boss that'll let you do that.
Oh, yeah. It helps when he's a racer, too. So.
Yeah.
And even when he's a car owner, it really helps too.
Yeah,
it does. He's a huge help.
You kind of owe it to him to take off of work early and go get the car ready to go, right?
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah, well, he's helped me a lot and introduced me to a lot of people, and that have helped my career. And Chris and Randy I don't think they'll ever know how much I appreciate them, what they've done for me. Another one is Rick Havenridge. He came on board this year to help me. So I think that's all of them. I'm sure I'm missing a few.
Probably.
Yeah.
There's always so many of them that help out. Even the guys that don't send over some money. They send you a set of tires or help you out with shocks or little things.
Yeah, I mean, everything
Ice in
counts.
the cooler.
Everything
for the
counts.
water.
Yeah, everything counts.
Somebody to store all those bottles of booze you've got.
Yeah.
Be honest, are any of them still around?
Yeah, those ones are, because
Okay.
I don't know if I'll ever open them. They're kind of special.
Yeah. Did I tell you about this company in Texas that I really like?
Yeah, you did.
The Deep South Barrels.
Yeah.
I've just recently gotten into whiskeys and bourbons, and just Wednesday night I was over at a bar trying Fukano. It's a Japanese whiskey. It's really, really good, and I want to buy one of those and put one of those Japanese whiskeys in there because they're very mild flavors, and I want to bolster it up just a little bit. I'd love to see if you would do that. What it'd be like if you let it sit for like 6 months or a year.
Yeah, definitely.
But then again, then you just have an empty bottle, and really, what's that?
Well, I don't know.
All right, Ryan Jenkins, driver the number 6, modified throughout the area. If you want to get some old school Ryan Jenkins shirts, again, old school. 2017, they're available on dirtshirtsusa.com. You can pick them up for $20. He's got a couple of shirts available there. You can have some 2019 shirts you guys are working on?
We're trying to. I haven't really had a design up yet, but I'm planning on it.
Yeah.
If you had some 2016 shirts, would they be like ancient shirts? What would we call those?
I think so.
Yeah.
Follow him online, Ryan Jenkins Racing. It's great to keep up with him and see what he's doing. See what all he's got going on. Ryan Jenkins Racing on Facebook. Ryan, do appreciate your time, buddy. Best of luck. We'll see you somewhere at a dirt track.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, and I'm sure we'll see each other a ton. So.
I think so. All right, have a good one. We'll be back on the front stretch.
Every race car driver has run into the same problem. It's well past normal parts store closing hours, but you need that one to finish your car. The guys who brought you White Knuckle Racing by the River bring you Joe's Karting Racing Parts and Tire Store. Open until 10 p.m. Monday to Thursday and open until 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. A parts store that fits your after-hours schedule, and you can turn a few laps at Joe's Karting while you're waiting for your part to get pulled from their warehouse. joeskarting.com for more information.
Racers all over the country are discovering the benefits of powder coating their chassis. Powder coating offers a clean, even finish you will be proud to show off to fans and sponsors. Plus, it's a more durable surface. While looking beautiful, powder coating offers superior protection against corrosive chemicals typically spilled during routine maintenance. Bare frames start at $275 with estimates available if blasting or reworking is needed. Get your quote today by emailing Jordan F. at redoakfabrication.com or by calling 712-623-4911.
We're hooked up in turn 2 and still showing the green flag on the front stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch, rolling into turn number 2, and it's time to have a conversation with another Red Oak Fabrication interview, local dirt driver in the area. Don't forget, Red Oak Fabrication now offering powder coating at an affordable price. Get your chassis powder coated for just $275 for a bare frame. If you've got some reworking that needs to be done or blasting, it's going to be a little bit more. Just give Jordan a call today for an estimate, 712-623-4911, or you can email him, jordanf@redoakfabrication.com. Again, get a hold of Red Oak Fabrication for all of your powder coating needs, whether it be chassis, parts, or everyday equipment. They can get it done for you over in Red Oak, Iowa. RedOakFabrication.com for more information. Talking with Mike Densberger, the driver throughout the area of the 80... Mike, I'm forgetting your dang card number all of a sudden.
Try 81. How about that?
That's how could I ever forget? I'm so sorry. That's a rookie mistake.
Oh, it's all good.
But, Mike, we appreciate you joining us on the show. Had a pretty good, successful 2018, as far as I'm concerned. Would you agree with that, or would you say you had room for improvement?
No, there's always room for improvement, but we were, I was happy the way the season went. We kind of took it pretty easy, didn't really run for points anywhere, so picked up a few wins here and there, so we had a good year.
In the past, you've raced with the USMTS Modifieds pretty heavily, but decided not to tour with them over the last couple of years?
Yeah, the way they restructured their points last year kind of made it's just one big long points race, and it just made it too hard to run around the country with work and whatnot. So we had to kind of back off of that. But yeah, I had a blast. It was very much a challenge, but it was no regrets, and I loved that I did it.
I got to watch you several times out at Eagle Raceway, and that was probably my favorite modified racing to watch over the year consistently? Because when you'd show up, there'd be you, Jordan Grabowski, and sometimes you get someone like Hunter Marriott or Lance Borgman that would mix in there a little bit and usually spelled for a pretty fun night of racing.
Yeah, Eagle's one of the toughest in the area. Well, the whole state, whole region, some of the best modified racing around. And yeah, we picked up a couple of wins. Always had tough battles with Jordan and Hyatt and Jet and Zobek. And when the big hitters like Hunter and Ricky Thornton and Tim Ward would come, and it was always fun racing.
That track had a little bit of character at the beginning of the year, and I'm not sure the character ever wore off. But you guys definitely got the jostle knocked out of you a couple of nights.
Yeah, character is it's a nice way of putting it. Yeah, that track always has character. It's what makes it what it is. It's a tough beast to tame, but when you do it, it's a blast. And there's a lot of heartache and a lot of bent parts when you're done, but it's worth it in the end when you take those checkers.
Yeah, I know out at Eagle you pit out there in that new little pit area they got, and when I worked the gate out there last summer, Jet was down there and Jackson and stuff, and we had Jet on a couple weeks ago, and we're trying to come up with a nickname for the boy. Are we going to call him Jet 2.0, or are we going to call him the Drone? What are we going to call the Jet? The Jet's Junior.
That's a great question. I don't know. He's kind of taken a character of his own. He's doing good, holding his own, and he'll work his way up. He has all the good opportunities he needs to make it in the sport.
He's been out.
He's a great kid. He's an awesome kid. He has a good head on his shoulders, and that's always positive.
Well, that's what his dad said. He's been out here this week at the shootout out there in Arizona with, who do you go, Chris Simpson?
Yeah, Chris Simpson.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's probably getting some experience out there, even though Bobby Pierce is taking all the money.
Right.
You've got some kids of your own, don't you?
No kids, just dogs.
Oh, I thought you had a kid or two.
I do not. My sister has a couple kids always out on the track. I'm hanging out with my niece and nephew and my wife's sister and their husband have a couple kids that come out to the racetrack all the time. So there's always kids around the pits that hang out with and entertain. So, but nope, no kids of our own.
Yeah, I any plans to have them someday, or are you just kind of enjoying the life?
Yeah, someday in the future they'll be here.
Yeah, I'm in the same book. Right now I'm enjoying the fact that we can not have plans for tonight, and no, like I don't envy my brother and sister at all, because it's like, hey, do you want to go get some drinks? Like, no, we got softball practice we got to get the kids to, or we got volleyball or dance or there's 1,000 things these kids are going and doing, and the parents have got to go sit and watch. And me, the entire time, I'd be with my face in my race pass watching race results rather than watching my kid.
Exactly. And they're all between like 2 and 5, so
yeah.
They're all a handful, but they're a blast, and they always have a good time.
You put them to work in the car, or do you make them stay in the trailer?
Well, they can't really go in the pits at Eagle. Some tracks
right.
they can, some tracks they can't. But no, when they're there after the pits, they like to mud scrape and whatnot. We always have little toys for them and stuff to do.
Nothing wrong with that.
A mud scrape and mud play. There you go.
That's right.
I was really...
They're not my kids, so I don't care if they go home messy.
Yeah, whether they eat the stuff or not, who cares?
Exactly.
Go send them home foaming at the lips.
Oh, you must got a little ruin grease in that mud there or something.
I was really impressed with you earlier this year, I guess 2018. I was watching, I believe it was you and Hunter Marriott racing really, really hard for a win at Eagle. And I thought for sure, maybe it was you and Jordan Grabowski, but I thought for sure you two were going to come out with some hurt emotions, but both of you came out smiling and laughing because it was just too much of a good time.
Yeah, I think I was probably with Jordan. We had a string there where we both got we swapped first and seconds for 4 straight weeks, and that was just a good string, and the car was always under us. And yeah, I mean, we bump and bang, and as long as we don't take each other out, it's always a handshake and a good laugh afterwards. So
is it kind of nervous?
What's that?
You know Jordan really well, so it was probably easier for you to know. If I lean on him a little bit, it's all good in racing. We're not going to get hurt about it. But there's probably other guys out there that you know that if you did that, you would probably have to deal with some hurt feelings.
Yeah, that's part of the deal. There's rubbing, and sometimes, unfortunately, it goes too far, and there's some wrecks. And, it's never your fault, but that's the way we all think. But it is, it is our fault, a lot of the times. And you just got to try to keep that nose clean. That's the best way to get to the front is keep your nose clean. And a track like Eagle, it's hard to do, and when it has all that character, as you call it.
Yeah. Are you the kind of guy that you don't mind if someone kind of leans on you as long as they don't cross that line?
Yeah, exactly. As long as it's clean, and then they can expect it next time. You catch back up to them or change your line and catch back up to them and do it back to them. And a lot of us have raced together for a long time now. We all kind of came up like Jordan and Hyatt and me. And we race each other hard and clean. And sometimes mistakes happen, and you run over the nose or whatever, but it's all good. So
I think
no hurt feelings, and keep on going.
I think that'd be a fun night, is to sit around a table, some beer, maybe a fire pit, and sit with you and Grabowski and Hyatt and some of these guys, and you guys just listen to you guys swap stories.
Yeah, that's always a good time. We do a lot in the pits afterwards, especially late at night when we have a few cold ones in us. But I think right now we're all trying to catch up to Jordan Grabowski, unfortunately. But that guy's kind of in a league of his own, so it always feels good when you can get up and get by him.
What kind of chassis are you? What kind of chassis are you running? Are you a GRT guy?
Nope, I've been Jet for a long time.
That's
and
right.
We'll stick with Johnny and his chassis, and he builds us good cars, and he has a great program for us, and we're happy.
That's always nice to have with your chassis builder, because it can turn sour pretty quickly if you're not getting the support you need and you're watching somebody else in victory lane a lot.
Yeah, and Johnny's getting a little bit up there in age, but that guy can still wheel a race car, and we lean on each other for some notes and pointers and some R&D on cars and how they're feeling, and it's a good relationship. I like what we got going.
Does it help that there's quite a few Jet chassis out there, so you got quite a bit of experience you can lean on with some other guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Like my brother-in-law, he runs a Jet chassis in Sport Mod, and he's doing really good for as young into his career as he is. And yeah, I mean, obviously they're the closest in the area, so there's a lot of them around. But yeah, there's a ton of guys to lean on and get some pointers from and pass a few notes that kind of hopefully help each other out.
Well, when you got him right there at the track, like at Eagle, racing against him, if you do run into kind of an odd situation, or maybe the track's coming in a direction, for the night that you don't normally see, so you got somebody to bounce something off of. It's real nice.
Yep, absolutely, and that's always good. And have him down at Beatrice, and we don't run down there too much this year, but yeah, it's always good to have Johnny park next to him, and if you need something, he's there.
You mentioned your brother-in-law being Matthew Andrews, who drives the Sport Mod, the number 22 Sport Mod throughout the area. He also drove your 81A, kind of your backup car, a couple of times. Is there plans for him to get his own modified, or are you going to kind of let him run that second car when he's able?
Yeah, whenever it allows at like I-80, because they're NASCAR sanctioned, he can run both divisions. But IMCA tracks he cannot. His plan, as far as I know, is to stay in Sport Mod for at least the upcoming year. But he's having great success at what he's doing in his little race program, so I'm super happy for him.
Yeah, he is. He really came on strong at the end of the yeyear.
Yeah, and it's just good to have him get a few laps in my dad's other cars. So when he can run a few laps like that and get some experience in A mod, and I think it helps him in the Sport Mod as well.
So we got 2018 behind us. We're a couple of weeks into 19. Have you got any plans in place for what you want to do this year, or are you still kind of working on them?
Yeah, we're still talking it out. We don't know exactly where we're going to run, or like last year we didn't really run for points and kind of just ran where we felt like it, when we felt like it. We went out west for a weekend, out North Platte, Lexington. We might run, Lexington's running a fairly limited schedule, but we might go hit up all that. We might run Eagle full time. We don't know yet. Maybe Beatrice, I-80, everything's kind of up in the air still.
Do you kind of like that freedom and not being tied down to a track or a series?
Yeah, there is. It's tough to explain unless you're in it, but when you're kind of racing for points or racing for all that, there's some pressure that gets built into it. As much as you don't want it to be there, it is there. So it was kind of nice just to take a step back and like get off the road as much as we did from USMTS racing, and it was just a really relaxing, fun, enjoyable summer.
You talked about getting out on the road. Who's some of them people that help you do that?
My mom and dad, those are my dad's race cars on IMCA that I'm running. My father-in-law, Steve Miller, Randy and Jackie with Alfred Ward and Sons. Like we mentioned before, Johnny down at Jet Racing, that whole crew, everyone he's got working down there, they help out a lot. Mike Bennett with Dynamic Drivelines, Craig, my boss at Gaina and Trucking X-Fitting, they help a lot with my schedule. Skytop Towers, Neiman Refuse, and Harris Decals.
Those Skytop Towers are doing a lot to help out the community. They're over in Aurora?
No. They're right outside, kind of between Lincoln and Seward.
Okay.
I think they're technically in Malcolm. That's where I grew up. But yeah, they help out like Grossenbacher, and that's Matt's dad.
Okay.
His company. So
something I don't think I'd ever do.
A lot for
they go up on towers and fix stuff, right? I mean, that's basically. Or do they erect towers?
Nope, they climb up on those big, tall, 600, 700, whatever, 1,000-foot tall towers, however tall they are. Yeah, they climb up them and fix whatever they got to fix. So I don't quite know exactly all that they do, but they definitely got some upper body strength in them.
Yeah, until you put any zeros on there, I'm good. You say 6 or 7 feet, I'm in there. But you start adding zeros, I'm out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you say upper body strength. That answers a lot of questions of the why Matt looks like the way he does. He's got a big upper body and kind of smaller legs.
His dad's exactly the same, except a few inches shorter.
Some guy I prefer to take a beer over to and have a good time with rather than make him mad.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you're not going to plan on racing any weekly right now, but maybe, we just talked with Ryan Jenkins, and he was kind of saying, we'll start out race a couple of weekly tracks and see where we sit in the points. Is that kind of where you're at?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we took some weekends off. Like, we had scheduled weekends off for some family stuff last year. So, if we start running, feeling good and comfortable and want to go for it, we might go for it. So we don't quite know yet. But, yeah, we're just going to kind of play it by ear. It's early. We talked about it over the kind of holiday break here, me and the old man, about what we might end up doing, but it's still kind of up in the open. We'll kind of just, play it by ear for now.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough if you go out and you say, well, we'll run the first month, and you win, say, 3 times in the first month. It's kind of tough to say, yeah, we're not going to run for points.
Yeah, it's hard to walk away from that, especially since, your car's running good at that specific track. It's hard just to walk away, and especially if you got a points lead. But, yeah, it's Eagle's kind of the crown jewel in the area, so if we run good there and want to go forward, maybe we will.
You keep mentioning your dad. Does he help you weekly on the car, or is he just kind of a support structure?
Oh, no, absolutely. The car's out at my parents' place, so, yeah, actually, I go out there to work on the car. They're actually his race cars. They're not mine. My US MTS car is still in the shed, so, no, I'm actually racing his cars. I wouldn't have been able to race last year locally without his cars, so, no, my parents help out awesome.
I heard a rumor that US MTS was going to be paying a little bit more for some people to race it. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, I've kind of saw a couple videos. I don't quite know the whole deal, and I think they might be restructuring the way they kind of ran regions before. Mm-hmm. We could run a region and then run their points championship at the end of the year, and my work did a really good, was awesome with me to take some time off to do that. But when they just ran one long points season throughout the whole country, especially down south, it's hard to make those trips just for a few races at a time.
Yeah.
I don't quite got that budget, unfortunately.
Well, I think that's, we talk about a lot on this show. It's when you've got the expenses of a race team, it's the travel that really determines your ability to be able to run a series. Can you afford that $400 or $500 it's going to cost you to run down to Texas for the weekend?
Exactly. I mean, majority of it's just the great sponsors you have, and I've been blessed with amazing sponsors that have given me the opportunity to do it, and that's why I didn't look back, especially when worked with me to go do it. So I had a blast doing it. It was definitely a challenge, and those are actually professional race teams. Most of the time I was just on the road by myself, or my dad came with me, and just us two. These guys have crew or on staff that go with them, so it was a fun experience. We had a couple top fives, so it was a blast and learned a lot of good stuff, and I think it made me better as a driver.
And the expense, it's not that it's it's only there if they race, because you might tow to Texas and get rained out 3 days in a row. You still had the expenses without a nickel coming back.
Exactly. That's the worst. Sitting in a Walmart parking lot for a day or two just watching it rain. Yeah, but you making no money after you traveled 600 miles or whatever, and you just got to sit there and wait and hope you get a race the next day.
Yeah, but you can keep the car clean.
Yeah, that's part of it.
And you get to add to the people of Walmart.com.
Yeah, I guess.
You get to be a Walmart,
dog on the road.
A Walmart lot Martian.
Well, anything else going on? Any big news you want to talk about?
Nope, no real big news. Just kind of working hard and keeping clean over the winter here. And
you gonna go down to the Chili Bowl and do any viewing?
No, I've never been to the Chili Bowl. I don't think so. I had a little itch to get down to Arizona, but I didn't go down there. I decided to stay back because they're running right now down there. But
yeah, Ricky Thornton showed up, so
yeah, it sounds like he just won last night. No big surprise there.
Yep. All right. Well, if you got anything, you're always welcome to come back on and talk to us. I'm sure we'll see you down at Eagle for the season opener, and hopefully see you over at I-80, probably for the Charlie Clark and the US MTS race at the Silver Dollars.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be at those shows for sure.
All right, Mike Densberger, driver the number 81 out of Malcolm, Nebraska. Appreciate your time, buddy. Not even a single cough. You made it through.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you remembered my car number at the end there.
Yeah, I'm going to have to find a way to edit that around so I don't look like such an idiot.
Oh, geez.
All right, buddy. Appreciate your time. Always do like talking to you. We'll see you at Eagle, and maybe I'll have a beer for you.
All right, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. See you.
Bye. Once again, Mike Densberger. Did you know he drives the number 81 car?
Yes.
I know that now, too. Seriously, just as I was saying it, I was like, wait, 87, 82, 85. Like, all these 80s kept popping into my head, and I'm like, oh, man, now I forgot. That's what happens when you're me. That interview brought to you by Red Oak Fabrication, offering powder coating at an affordable price. Get your chassis powder coated for just $275 if it's a bare frame. I was hearing some horror stories. Some sprint car guys took their chassis over to a company over in Des Moines, and they were quoted right around $325. When they ended up getting the cars back, The bill that came with it was in the $650-700 range. So that's why my buddies down at Red Oak Fabrication, I called them and talked to them, and they said, God, we'll do it for $275 bare frame. I mean, it's probably going to be closer to $450, $500 if we got to do a bunch of sandblasting and get the old paint off of there. But you definitely want to look into that powder coating, because you talk about having a nice looking car at the end of the year. Powder coating a frame is a great way to do it.
Well, and it's a ton tougher than just taking a can of, Rust-Oleum or whatever and spraying it in the garage. I mean, this stuff is thicker and it sticks, and it's got the finish of like your refrigerator.
It looks absolutely gorgeous. I was doing a bunch of research as we were getting ready for this, and I didn't realize that it was corrosive chemical free proof. So if you happen to be changing your brakes and you're bleeding your brakes and you spill some brake fluid on a regular paint, it's going to wear that paint away pretty quickly.
Well, yeah, it just eats it and starts bubbling it, and then it just falls off. So
powder coating won't do that. It'll stay on there, and it'll look absolutely beautiful. So mid-season, July, when it gets into the heat of the months, and you got to go do a car show, your chassis is going to look absolutely beautiful, while the guy who spray painted it's not.
Yep.
He's going to be a little dinged up. So get over to RedOakFabrication.com. More information there. Again, $275 for a bare frame. If you need some reworking or blasting, it could be a little bit more. Just give Jordan a call today. 712-623-4911, or email him jordanf@RedOakFabrication.com. We're going to take a break. We'll come back in turn number 3 on the front stretch.
We all have that coworker that runs their mouth off at how great they are. They shot a 5 under par, 95-mile-an-hour fastball, bench press 375, brah. Wouldn't you love to shut them up by schooling them at Joe's Karting? Council Bluffs' premier indoor karting track, professionally designed so each corner is your opportunity to embarrass your coworker. Call Buddy for your next company outing at 712-256-5278. Joe's Karting, white knuckle racing just across the river on 23rd Avenue next to AMC 17.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole of the front stretch and the home of MAV TV, featuring action from the Lucas Oil Late Model Series.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Located on Mid-America Drive in Council Bluffs.
Feather the brake and get back to the gas. Dan and Dirk are headed into turn 3 on the front stretch.
Welcome back to it. Appreciate everybody hanging around. Thanks to Mike Densberger and Ryan Jenkins for joining us. To apologize for any Jordan Grabowski fans that might have tuned in. One of those miscommunications, just not able to get a hold of Jordan in time. I thought I had him confirmed, but that was totally my mistake, not his at all. So we will work on getting Jordan on the show in the next couple of weeks again, just like we're working on getting Roy Armstrong on the show. So a lot of drivers we're working on to get on the show and get some interviews lined up. But one guy we do have lined up for next week,
Spencer Boyd,
one of the Xfinity Series drivers, and sponsored by Grunt Style. Is he up in the Cup Series now?
Not anymore. No, he signed with Young Motorsports and is going to be driving the 20 truck full-time in the Truck Series this year.
Great
news.
So
that's what we're going to bring him on and talk to about that. And like I said, Grunt Style's behind him about 200%. And he likes living that lifestyle, so.
Yeah, he does, and it is a lifestyle, absolutely. So good job for him, and congratulations for that ride. I think it's better for them, for some, in certain circumstances, to drop down to a different series if you've got a little bit more of a well-funded team and a little bit more structure behind you, rather than trying to run an underfunded team at a higher series.
Well, I don't know where that all sits. He did show a picture from their shop, and they had 4 or 5 trucks sitting there. He did say on his press release that they're going to run the Ilmor engines, which is kind of like the spec motor in the Truck Series, but it's about 40 to 50 horsepower better than the motor you can build by your own rules. So, because like DJ Kopp was explaining that to us, that he runs at his own motor and not an Ilmor motor because he can't afford that. And, he said, so we're relegated 15th to 20th place before the race ever starts because we can't compete with those 15 trucks that are up there with the good motor. So he's going to have the good motor. He's pretty excited about the whole deal. He did not mention whether it was a multi-year deal or not, but I got a hold of him right away. I mean, we talked to him last year at Iowa Speedway, and we'll probably talk to him at Iowa Speedway or maybe even Kansas City in May. But I thought it was, kind of neat to get to meet the young man, and big go-kart background. And that was one of the things he talked about on his press release, was what he's going to do in the winner's circle. and somebody asked him. It was a Facebook Live deal.
Mm-hmm.
And, he says, well, I appreciate your confidence in me thinking I'm getting into the winner's circle. But he goes, let's be honest, it's been a few years since I won in a late model or anything like that because I haven't been racing those.
Yep.
But he goes, I'm kind of thinking a Brad Keselowski American flag kind of deal.
Yeah.
Is what I'd like to do. And he is. He's real big on the veterans like Brad is and that type of stuff. So it's kind of neat to see that in a young kid.
Did we talk about Chip Ganassi Racing shutting down their Xfinity Series last weekend?
No, I think that came out after we recorded last week.
Let's talk a little bit about that. So this story had been kind of bouncing around a little bit. The first part of the story is that the FBI raided the home and offices for DC Solar, which is a big sponsor for Chip Ganassi Racing in the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. Since the news came out that they had raided the home of the CEO and the main offices for the company, DC Solar, hadn't really heard much other than that. And listen, it sounds like an obvious statement, but the FBI doesn't just randomly raid people. Sometimes in local law enforcement, you will be arrested under suspicion and held until a trial or evidence exonerates you or finds you guilty. But when the FBI acts, they got you. Well, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, the feds have a bunch on you when they're going to jump in. And one thing that I kind of wondered, and unless I talk to Chip Ganassi or, somebody attorney or maybe Brandon Poole, who is suing Chip Ganassi for stealing his sponsorship of DC Solar. I wonder if maybe that little lawsuit right there didn't lead into his Brandon Poole's attorney getting a hold of the FBI saying there's some stuff going on here. I just wonder if that's tied. I do not know.
Yeah, well, that would kind of make that might connect a couple of dots, but. As a result of that, I think it's pretty safe to say that DC Solar is no longer going to be able to pay their bills since the FBI has shut them down. So Chip Ganassi Racing has been forced to shut down their Xfinity Series team, which meant that Ross Chastain is without a ride. And at this point in the year, when you're without a ride, that's tough because there's not a lot of time to turn things around and go find a new ride for 2019.
Well, a lot of people speculated that he could go in JR Motorsports still has a car without a driver, which would be, a step in the right direction as far as moving up the ladder. But this week it was announced that he is supposed to be driving for Premium Motorsports full-time in the Cup Series in the number 15 car, which he drove at a handful of races last year.
Yeah.
So he's moving up series. I don't really know equipment-wise what he's getting into. That's kind of a sister car to TriStar Motorsports over there with my buddy Wally Rogers is crew chief. And so I need to try and get a hold of him and see if he can shed any light on that whole deal.
So sad news for Ross. It just seemed like he was so close to he did really, really well in the Xfinity Series when he drove that 42 car for Chip Ganassi Racing. We talked to him a couple of times about it. It seemed like things were moving in the right direction, and then this is one of those things that's just out of your control, and unfortunately a lot of people are without a job, including the people that work at DC Solar. So tough little deal there. Got a couple minutes left in turn number 3 before we head over to turn number 4 and talk about a couple of news and notes. Bass Pro Shops has signed a deal to sponsor Martin Truex Jr. at Joe Gibbs Racing, and there was a little bit of backlash on Facebook about this. People not very happy that Joe Gibbs Racing got Bass Pro Shops, but am I crazy the way that I read it, that it really felt like Bass Pro Shops was backing Martin Truex Jr. again?
Correct. That they've done that. I mean, they backed him clear back in his Busch Series days, so they've been a Martin supporter for a long time, and so that didn't change. But yeah, there were some people that were kind of frustrated that Joe Gibbs closed the Front Row or Furniture Row Motorsports is what people think, which he didn't. Barney closed his own company.
Right. I completely agree with you on that. I think while Joe Gibbs had a factor to do with it.
He got an assist.
Yeah. That's a great way of putting it. You're absolutely right. I think Joe Gibbs Racing is getting all of the blame when they only deserve about 25% of it.
Yeah, somewhere around there, maybe a third. But, they didn't help the situation, let's put it this way.
Also, on the sponsorship side for the 78 team, Auto Owners Insurance is set to sponsor Martin Truex Jr. I believe that's a 9-race deal, while the Bass Pro Shops is in the vicinity of a 20-race deal?
Yeah, I think they're basically 2/3 of the season. Another sponsorship deal that I just saw for the first time today was Oscar Myers coming on board with Ryan Newman.
Good deal there.
Up at Roush. It's always good to see a new name in. I don't have any details as to how many races, but they did show a car that was covered in hot dogs. It was it's a rather interesting paint scheme, if that's a serious paint scheme. It might
looking at it right now.
Yeah, it might have been just a press release deal, but
it's gonna make waves. that'll and how long until that pun comes out? Anyways, we won't get into that today. As we expected for a long time, we finally got the announcement on Monday that Daniel Suarez is officially heading to Stewart-Haas Racing, which wraps up the final Cup Series silly season puzzle of who's going to fill in the top cars.
Well, yeah, we still haven't heard the driver of the new 77 car that's coming out yet.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen anything on that.
Mum's still the word on that. They haven't made any announcements.
Like I said, we kind of speculated, or I was speculating, that maybe Brett Moffitt would be there, but Brett Moffitt has landed at GMS.
Yeah, so let's take a quick break. We'll come back in turn number 4. I want to talk about what happened at GMS while we got a little bit left in the show. But the Brett Moffitt deal, the Johnny Sauter deal, it's very sudden and kind of shocking, but starting to be good news for one person. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back in turn number 4. We're going to wrap this baby up with the final bits of news and notes on the front stretch.
Racers all over the country are discovering the benefits of powder coating their chassis. Powder coating offers a clean, even finish you will be proud to show off to fans and sponsors. Plus, it's a more durable surface. While looking beautiful, powder coating offers superior protection against corrosive chemicals typically spilled during routine maintenance. Bare frames start at $275 with estimates available if blasting or reworking is needed. Get your quote today by emailing Jordan F. at redoakfabrication.com or by calling 712-623-4911.
Hey, look at that. You're sitting on your couch playing Halo, Madden, or NASCAR while your friends are at Joe's Karting. Each lap is an adrenaline-filled, heart-pumping, white-knuckle experience that you can only get at the Metro's largest indoor karting track. Eco-friendly Honda engines rip you around the professionally designed road course at breakneck speeds. Can you reach the 14-second lap bracket? There's only one way to find out. Put the controller down and get to Joe's Karting, 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs next to Quaker Steak and Lube.
It's checkers or wreckers as we enter turn 4 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs.
Well, welcome back to it. We got just a couple of minutes left in turn number 4 before we wrap up today's show for the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting. Turn 4 brought to you by Quaker Steak and Lube, the official watering hole of the front stretch. Dirk, can you believe it? We are less than a week away. This coming Saturday night, we'll be at Quaker Steak and Lube for the Chili Bowl viewing party. If you want to come down, there's no price to be a part of it. We talk Quaker Steak and Lube into buying the subscription, putting it on the TV, and then the wait staff will hang around. Typically, the race is going to go starts about 7:30 or so. And the last year that we did it, I think the race wrapped up at about 11:30.
Yeah, I was going to say it was about 4 hours. Do you know, and I've never paid attention, and if they've got it, I've never tried it, but do they have chili on the menu?
They do every once in a while. I don't believe they're going to have it right now because I think they're getting set for their spring menu, which sounds weird that in January we're getting ready for a spring menu. But
it's kind of been spring weather.
Yeah, they put it out there a little bit early, but I will post on the Front Stretch Facebook page if they do have it. But we are going to have some specials that'll be available for you. Again, doesn't cost you anything to come down, just whatever you want to eat and drink and have a good time. We'll be over in the Brickyard. We've been guaranteed that we'll have the race on and the audio up so that way we can watch it and enjoy it.
And you never know, there might be a pool or something going on during the race. Those things have tended to happen there occasionally.
We started to talk about it in the last turn, and I wanted to wrap it up before we ended today's show. We got some interesting sudden news on Wednesday that GMS Racing, who we've worked closely with in the past, we've got some good relationships over there, and Johnny Sauter, who Johnny and GMS have been partners for 2 years now. Was it 17 and 18 they'd race together, or was it 3 years?
I was thinking 3 years.
Okay.
I was thinking 16, 17, and 18.
Abruptly ended their relationship. And statements from GMS, just kind of your generic thing. We appreciate all the support.
We wish him well.
That Johnny and... It was just so sudden, and the time of the year really was interesting because this is usually when you have this, it's going to be November or December that they're going to make that kind of an announcement. Not in the middle of January when, once again, some of these guys are going to tire tests, some of these guys are going and getting all their equipment ready to go for 2019. Some of their hero cards and what their fire suits are going to look like, and all of a sudden Johnny Sauter's without a ride and GMS is without a driver for their truck series
for about 5 minutes.
Right, less than 24 hours later, we find out that current Truck Series champion and native to Iowa, Brett Moffitt, landed that ride, and he's going to be driving for GMS. So, good news for Brett Moffitt. Interesting news. I wonder what Johnny Sauter's going to do.
Well, and who knows? This might have been something that's been in the works since Moffitt was announced about a week after his championship that he wouldn't be back in that truck, So it's hard telling exactly what happened there, but I have seen no word from Johnny Sauter on this end. So I think this whole deal was pretty one-sided is what I'm thinking.
It sounds like you think GMS said, hey, we appreciate it, but we've got an opportunity with this young kid, and we're going to go with him.
Well, we've got an opportunity to pull last year's champion in, and Sauter won a championship for GMS.
Right.
So, and he was in the championship for last year. Very disappointing run at Homestead. He was just out to lunch the whole weekend. And
I think this year I saw he finished 7th or somewhere in the points this year.
I'm not sure where he exactly ended up, but if he would have won Homestead, he'd have been the champion.
In 2018.
Correct.
Okay, so he was in I thought you were talking about 17. He was in the championship.
No, he was in the Final Four.
Okay.
Yeah, I think 17 he won the title, I do believe.
Okay. All right. So that's a tough. Hey, listen, we're in professional sports. And they saw an opportunity. You don't see this a lot in NASCAR where they will make a switch like this. That a lot of times when a team signs with a driver, they'll stick with them for a while. And usually it's performance issues or sponsor issues that are the keys to somebody losing a ride. It wasn't performance for Johnny Sauter. And I don't think it was sponsorship issues because Brett Moffitt didn't bring a lot to the table with his team. That's the reason why he lost the ride that he did.
Well, that team that he won the title with last year, you talking about, somebody, over delivering, they came out of nowhere.
Well, that gets you up to date with everything that's going on in the NASCAR world. If you want more pressing information, we always record on Thursday nights, so anything that happens on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we usually cover on the following week's shows. But you can get that information right away by following us on Facebook.
And hopefully next week we'll have some information. They're running, as we speak, they started yesterday on Wednesday running a tire test at Fontana with Cup cars, and I've already talked to the guest we had last week, the Goodyear engineer, on how come there were no Chevys at this test, and she explained to me that it's all set up by NASCAR and the makes, the manufacturers on who does what tests. There were 2 Fords and a Toyota at this one, and evidently they were basically doing simulated race runs, literally, and drafting and passing and never got more than a second apart on the track. I guess it was, quite an interesting test, and things were going even. But hopefully I'll get a little more information from her here in the next week and see how that finished out.
Got a lot of show coming at you in the next couple of weeks. We're going to try to announce the season-long Pick'ems contest presented by Rick Havenridge of Wealth Partners, but we'll get that to you soon. Also have plans to get Trevor Grossenbacher on the show. He made an announcement earlier this week that he's going to be racing a full-time car for somebody else in 2019. And Mary Lenz won Most Popular Sport Mod Driver of the Year at Eagle Raceway. Races at Sport Mod throughout the area. Had a very promising year going, and then unfortunately was caught into a very bad accident and not able to get that car repaired. And she pretty much sat out the rest of the year. But we're going to see how she's doing for 2019. And who else knows what else we'll bring you for next weekend's show.
Yeah, and over the next few weeks, now that a lot of these banquets are up and running and getting completed. I know Eagles had theirs last week. This weekend on Saturday night, they had the Beaver up there in Iowa. Had their banquet, and we're going to try and start getting some track champions on here now that they've got to stand up on the podium and get their award and find out exactly what that felt like.
Thank you to Quaker Steak and Lube for sponsoring turn number 4. Thank you to Joe's Karting for bringing us the show, and thank you to Red Oak Fabrication for coming on board for a couple of months to sponsor all of the interviews. Again, if you want to get more information, joeskarting.com, Quaker Steak and Lube on Facebook, or redofabrication.com. We're going to do it again next weekend. For Dirk Houston, I'm Dan Taylor. Thanks.
Every race car driver has run into the same problem. It's well past normal parts store closing hours, but you need that one to finish your car. The guys who brought you White Knuckle Racing by the River bring you Joe's Karting Racing Parts and Tire Store. Open until 10 p.m. Monday to Thursday and open until 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. A parts store that fits your after-hours schedule, and you can turn a few laps at Joe's Karting while you're waiting for your part to get pulled from their warehouse. joeskarting.com for more information.
The official watering hole of the Front Stretch has you covered any day of the week with the best wings, great burgers, and amazing steaks. Each weekday from 4 to 6 is happy hour, featuring $1 off draft and well drinks plus $4 Luberitas. Mondays are kids' night. Tuesdays are all-you-can-eat wings for $12.95, and the lube even delivers to the Council Bluffs area. Like Quaker Steak and Lube Council Bluffs on Facebook for a full list of weekly events.
Get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Mid-America Drive, Council Bluffs.
This has been the Front Stretch Radio Show, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. To contact Dan or Dirk, find them on Facebook at The Front Stretch or email them at frontstretch590@gmail.com. If you missed any part of today's show or want to hear a previous show, subscribe to the Joe's Karting YouTube page, where you can find almost every Front Stretch show.